Let me ask you something. If I told you I would give you 2 scoops of ice cream, but both are filled with nails, would you still thank me for dessert? Because that's exactly what China promised with one country, 2 systems. 2 systems? Yeah, right. More like one communist boot and 2 faces. They promised Hong Kong and Macau freedom, autonomy, democracy, and they delivered tear gas, censorship, and puppet leaders. This isn't a policy, it's a scam. And today, I'm going to show you how one country, 2 systems is the biggest political joke of the 21st century. So buckle up. First, a little bit of history. When Britain handed Hong Kong back to China in 1997, the deal was simple, at least on paper. China said, we will let Hong Kong keep its freedom, its capitalism, its independent legal system for 50 years. 50, not 5, not 15, 50. It was supposed to be a win-win. China gets the territory, Hong Kong keeps the system that actually works. But here's the catch. When the Chinese Communist Party says 50 years, they really mean until we get bored. And spoiler alert, they got bored really fast. By 2003, just 6 years in, 1 million Hong Kongers were already protesting a proposed anti-subversion law, the infamous Article 23. Beijing's reaction? Oh, silly Hong Kongers, you thought our promise was real? No, no, no. That 2 systems part, we were just joking. The truth is, one country, 2 systems was never about trust. It was about timing. Give them a few years to calm the international community, then flip the switch. Classic CCP bait and switch. I remember visiting Hong Kong back in the early 2010s. It felt different. Clean streets, free press. You could walk into a bookstore and actually buy forbidden books. Titles like The Real Story of Xi Jinping or The Tiananmen Files. Try doing that in Beijing, and you'll disappear faster than a Jack Ma interview. And I asked a local cab driver, an old guy who had lived through the 1997 handover. He said, the Chinese say we have 2 systems, but it's like having 2 jail cells, one with a window. And that line just stuck with me because over the years, I watched that window slowly shut. From the umbrella movement in 2014 to the national security law in 2020, it wasn't 2 systems anymore. It was 1 system and 1 excuse. Now, let's talk about the 2020 national security law, or as I like to call it, the say anything bad about the CCP and you go to jail forever law. Passed overnight with zero input from Hong Kong's elected legislature, the law criminalized subversion, collusion with foreign forces, terrorism, which apparently includes waving a protest flag or just chanting Free Hong Kong. Imagine that. You say you want democracy, boom, charged with terrorism. You hold up a sign, boom, you are colluding with foreign forces. This isn't one country, 2 systems. It is one emperor, no questions. And let's not forget, this law doesn't just apply to people in Hong Kong. No. It applies to anyone in the world. You are watching this video right now. If you ever fly into Hong Kong, they could arrest you under this law. That is not law. That is a trap. Now, you might be thinking, well, what about Macau? Isn't Macau also under one country, two systems? Technically, yes, but Macau never had the same fighting spirit. It's been more docile, more quiet. Why? Because Beijing made sure Macau was addicted to its casino economy. It's a clever trick. Feed them economic growth. Give them just enough prosperity to shut them up, and then squeeze them later. But here's the irony. Even in Macau, freedom is shrinking. Press freedom, gone. Opposition voices, silenced. Beijing's grip, tighter than a Vegas slot machine. And one country, two illusions. Now, let's rewind to 1984, the year Thatcher flew to Beijing to negotiate the future of Hong Kong. She walked in thinking she was making history. But across the table sat Deng Xiaoping, the grandfather of China's reform and opening up. And also the guy who smiled while setting up a 50-year calm. He told Margaret Thatcher, "Don't worry, we will respect Hong Kong's system. No change for 50 years. Trust us." Trust us. The deadliest phrase in CCP diplomacy. Britain signed the deal, the Sino-British Joint Declaration, thinking they had safeguards. Deng Xiaoping knew better. He wasn't signing a contract. He was selling a mirage. The one country, two systems pitch was designed to deceive the West, soothe the markets, and trap Hong Kong. And it worked brilliantly. Fast forward to today, Hong Kong is a hollowed out shell of what it once was. Freedom of speech, gone. Elections, only if Beijing approves the candidates. Books, censored. Press, raided, arrested, dismantled. Prosperity, fleeing by the minute. Thousands of young people have left. Foreign companies are redirecting investments. And the expats who once called Hong Kong a global playground, they are now moving to Singapore. Even mainland Chinese elites are pulling their money out. That's how bad it's gotten in Hong Kong. This city, once the freest in all of Asia, is now just another checkpoint on the Belt and Road to nowhere. And the worst part, Deng Xiaoping actually warned us in plain sight. We just ignored him. Deng said, "We will let the capitalist system in Hong Kong stay for now." For now. He didn't lie. He just knew nobody was paying attention. And let's not forget the real reason Beijing still pretends that one country, two systems is alive. It's a bait for Taiwan. Beijing says, look, we gave Hong Kong freedom under one country, two systems. Taiwan can have the same deal. Yeah. And I've got a bridge in the South China Sea to sell you. Taiwanese people saw the truth. They watched the umbrella protests. They saw the national security law. They watched Hong Kong booksellers get kidnapped, newspapers get shut down, and young activists get thrown in prison. And they said, hell no, right? Polls show over 90% of Taiwanese reject the one country, two systems idea because they know once you shake hands with the CCP, you lose your spine, your voice, and eventually your country. So let's cut the crap. One country, two systems was never a promise. It was a performance, a scripted lie to fool Britain, bribe the capital markets, and threaten Taiwan. And the only people who still believe in it are either getting paid or haven't been paying attention. If you think you can negotiate with the Chinese Communist Party, ask Hong Kong how that worked out. Ask Jimmy Lai. Ask Joshua Wong. Ask the millions who marched and the silence they got in return. This isn't a story of two systems. It is a story of how one system destroys everything it touches. Hong Kong, Macau, and if we are not careful, Taiwan next. If this video hit a nerve, good. If you care about freedom, democracy, or just not getting conned by tyrants in suits, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who still thinks Beijing keeps its promises. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.